What is going on, everybody? It is Oscar Cisneros with Grease Monkey Garage here in El Cajon, California. If you guys are looking for a mechanic, give us a call at 619-871-5729. We do smog checks, electrical diagnostics, suspension, brakes, oil changes, maintenance, what have you. If you guys are looking for somebody like that, give us a call, 619-871-5729. Look, guys, I humble myself when I say this, but I am really, really thankful and grateful for the opportunities of all the people that have been able to give me the opportunity to work on your vehicle. I don't take it lightly. It is an amazing stewardship that I have been given. And for those that have supported my business in the past, I appreciate you. For those that support my business in the present, in the future, for those that have never given me their business and have shared a video, shared my name, I appreciate you so much. I mean, it's crazy how one person can introduce you to another and another and another and another, and it's something that it blows me away. It blows me away, and I'm just tremendously grateful for that. And I hope that we can continue to serve this community the way we have. And again, if you guys are looking for a mechanic, give us a call, 619-871-5729. So real quick, you guys know I love to share a little bit of snippets of wisdom. I'm going to make this quick and brief. And I was watching a show on Netflix on Prime the other day called The Chosen. It's a biblical narrative story of the life of Jesus and the disciples. And we're in season 2 right now. And it's really awesome to be able to have read it before and then to see a video interpretation of it and how accurate it is. And you get to see a little bit more about the day-to-day life and the day-to-day activities of Christ and his disciples. One of the more famous stories was the story of the Good Samaritan. The story, in essence, goes that there was a man who was beaten very, very badly on the side of the road, a Jewish man, and he was pretty much left for dead. And there was another Jewish man traveling along the road, saw him, and he walked to the other side and kind of continued on as if he did not see him. There were a couple of religious Pharisees that were walking down that road as well, and they kind of looked the other way and just kind of kept going along the road. And then there was a Samaritan who had walked by, and he saw him, threw him on his I think it was a donkey, took him to a lodge, paid the innkeeper to take care of him, nursed him back to health. And that there in a nutshell is the story of the Good Samaritan. Now, a little context is that at the time, the Jews and the Samaritans were extremely racist towards one another. They had racist attitudes towards one another. They just despised one another. So when that story was projected from Christ to the people, it was like, whoa, what do you mean us Jews can actually have relationships with Samaritans and actually love one another? What he was trying to create were seeds of brothership. He was saying, love your neighbor as you love yourself. For what good is it for you to love those whom only love you? The reward is in loving someone without any expectation of anything in return. That is true love in its form, because you're not asking for a payment for your love. You're not asking for gratification for your love. You're giving it freely, and you don't expect it to come back. And that's what he was trying to teach to those people. But I believe that the enemy comes in and he tries to sow seeds of discord amongst one another so that we can continue in that racist attitude towards one another and never allowing us to unify, but always to remain divided. A quick story on that was we went to Rubio's, had lunch. There was a homeless man that was inside Rubio's, and he seemed like he was kind of he had something going on. But, he kind of conversed with me very normal. He was cool, ordered his food, and then he began to kind of go into the just the hot button topics, you know what I mean? Police brutality. He was getting picked on by police officers. He was yelling at me. He didn't like the way people use certain languages here in El Cajon. And I'm just listening to this man, and I could just see him go from 0 to 60 instantly. And before, I can't even order my food because he's almost practically yelling at me. And I had to, hey, sir, I'll be with you in just a second. Let me order my food, and I'll redirect my attention towards you, and we can finish this conversation. Keep in mind, I got my family there. I got my 2 kids and my daughter. And he had a look in his eyes, guys. He had a look in his eyes. And, when you see a particular look in somebody's eyes, you got to step back a little bit and create a little bit of a distance between the person and that you might eventually or potentially get into a confrontation with. And then we meet over at the soda machine, and he just starts yelling at me. And it gets to a point where I see that look in his eyes, and I'm like, And I asked him, why are you yelling at me, man? I haven't said nothing to you but listen to you. Why are you yelling at me? And he said, because I'm triggering him. You know, this man was so hell-bent on vengeance and so hell-bent on getting his eye for an eye, his tooth for a tooth. And when I would question that, he just didn't like it. And it got to a point where I heard in my head, you know, you do not argue with the fool lest he bring you down to his level and beat you with experience. I mean, keep in mind, I'm there with my family to have dinner. So at that point, I dismiss him. I say, you know what? Me and you are done. There's nothing I can do for you. And he starts trying to yap away. And that was it. Now, my heart went out to this guy because he's experiencing rage in his own way. I mean, whatever it is, I try to share a good word with him. He did not receive it, and off he went. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to continue. I'm not going to have that particular experience and view that entire community of homeless people as that man, right? I'm not going to allow that one person, one attitude that was directed towards me at that time to define the rest of the community. So I'm still going to love that community. I'm still going to try to set seeds in that community. It's just that sometimes we go through these traumatic experiences, if you want to call it that, right? Or just an experience, and we always want to define everybody else by that. So I would just say I would challenge you to not have those types of mentalities. I would challenge you to say, hey, I might have had a bad experience with somebody before, whatever they might be, whether it be a people group, a language, a culture, the type of person that you might meet. Reflect on it, and hopefully, like the Good Samaritan, when we do find somebody that is beaten across the road, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, we can be there to lift them up, take them to the innkeeper being Jesus, and allow him to nurture them and bring them back to a state of that is acceptable, a state that is redeeming, a state that is just showered in humility, and to see something positive come out from something like that. Well, I hope that this message I hope that this message blesses you guys. I'm very thankful that you guys have even tuned in to the 7-minute mark. If you guys still have, Grease Monkeys out.